is over.
Hey guys, I'm Wrestling Daze, and you're listening to the Insiders Wrestling Podcast.
Hello everyone, we are the Insiders, and we have got a tremendous interview for you today. We are graced with the presence of the NWA Women's Champion and the International Princess Champion. We have Thunder Rosa with us tonight, and man, we are so happy to have you. Thank you so much for being on our show.
Well, thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely, anytime.
Thanks for hyping me up.
Oh, no problem, no problem.
Say.
We're both big fans, man. I know Jeff is as well, right?
Yeah, from the very beginning, from the first time I saw you on NWA Powerr, I said, there's something about her. I like her. I want to learn more, and I've been a fan ever since. So this is truly an honor for us to speak to you.
No, thank you.
Well, let's start off, Jeff. I know you have some questions about. I'm just curious about how you got into wrestling. So I know we've heard the story. You coming over from your home and coming to the United States. And so I mean, what got you started? I mean, what got you interested in wrestling?
My husband, we used to just go to like wrestling shows and stuff. I mean, he's the one who like introduced me to like a lot of pretty much everything. I mean, my first big show was a live show in San Diego with a couple of my friends that were like wrestling fans, and then we got the opportunity to go to WrestleMania 25, and where I was able to like experience like everything as a fan, like from Hall of Fame, All Access, and then WrestleMania. And then I used to like Randy Orton, so Randy Orton was there. I was like being a total fan, total idiot. And then when I really started liking like wrestling, like live wrestling, was when I attended indie independent shows in Oakland. That's when I was like, oh shit, like this is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Randy Orton's great, man. One of the best heels, I think, still in the game today. That's fantastic. So when did you first actually start wrestling? Like how long ago did you actually start the process and finding start training in the school and all that kind of stuff?
My training started in 2014, January 2014. I volunteered about a year prior to it because I wanted to learn everything prior to being in the ring, because by the time I was just training to become a wrestler, I wanted to be ready to to do either pretty much anything, like ring girl or like a valet manager, whatever it took to like be there. And definitely like being part of the shows as a volunteer, it really like gave me an advantage of like knowing a lot of things and like how to react to people, how to tell a story and all that stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you worked outside of the business a little bit first? Is that what you mean by like you were volunteering, doing stuff like that?
Yeah. Like I was going to All Pro Wrestling in Hayward, California. They had a school there. So they had shows pretty much every Saturday. And there was like another one called Devil Mountain in Concord, California, and I used to like put the ring together. Like before I started wrestling, I already know how to put a ring together.
Oh,
wow.
Wow,
because you have to do that. It's like you have to pay your dues. I'm all about paying your dues, and I really pay my dues. I mean, dude, there's so many places where my husband and I, we went out of our time on our days off to help out, and I never got booked. And I still haven't gotten booked. That tells you everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jeff. I know you've got some questions for her.
So talk to me a little bit more about your training and more of your background. I mean, I'm pretty sure you're an athletic person, and when you first got in there and started taking those bumps and started really learning the ins and outs of wrestling, being an in-ring performer, what was that like for you?
When I first started taking bumps?
Yes.
Awful. It was awful. I was terrible. I was so bad. I was
How
so scared.
so? How so?
I
What
mean,
you?
because my body is not used to like I'm not used to throwing myself into like a, you know, a soft, quote unquote, thing, and not like, I mean, tucking my chin and everything. Like, I never done any sports like that. Like, it was my first time ever. It was, so it's like, I was in certain stuff, I was really awkward. It took me a little longer to like learn certain moves, like certain things, and so I have to work even harder than anybody,
Right.
and I was like the only girl too.
Hmm.
So they always wanted me to do all this like high flying stuff, and I used to tell the guys, I'm like, dude, no, I just want to be a ground wrestler. I don't want to be like flying and shit. It's like I want my career to last, and knowing what I know now, like, yeah, like ground wrestler 100%.
Yes, I agree with that. In terms of in terms of your athletic background, did you play any sports in high school or do anything like that before getting into wrestling?
Nope, nothing.
Okay. Okay. So when it came time for you to train, was there, other than taking the bumps, was there a part of it for you that was just like, man, I don't know about this. This is kind of intense.
I think it's like the whole premise of professional wrestling, man. It was just like it was just and allowing somebody to throw you or like to hit you and stuff.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, I was like, man, this makes no sense. I mean, because like now when I'm like in fighting, it's like fighting. You're like ducking. You don't want people to grab you or nothing like that. So it
Right.
was just like, it was so crazy. It was like the transition like that. It's crazy. So yeah, it was. Yeah, a lot of things didn't make sense, but once you start, getting into it, I was just like, it's like it's like a dance. It's like, you got to make sure that you have a really good dance partner to like guide you. That's like that's when they used to tell us like, oh, you're the veteran, you're gonna be guiding, you're gonna be calling things. It's the same with dancing, and you just have to like go with the flow and flow with it.
Right. Right. Yeah. That's a lot of people that watch wrestling don't really understand the ins and outs of it. They see the finished product, which looks good, but all the work that it takes to get to that point and learning all of the moves, and like you said, learning to do that dance with your dance partner in there is it's a lot that goes into that, and those hours and hours and weeks and months of training can really take a toll on you if you go into it without understanding what you're doing. And it's really counter to everything that you do. I mean, if you were to get into a street fight with someone, you wouldn't let them pull you or throw you. You'd do everything you could to avoid that. But in wrestling, it's more of a, you have to flow with your partner. You're telling a story, so it has to make sense when you're doing the physical nature of what's going on inside the ropes.
Yes, absolutely. And the more that I'm in the business, the more I realize how important it is not to be so, I mean, it also depends on the storyline that you're trying to tell, but
Mm-hmm.
not to be so I was gonna say egocentric. It's not egocentric, but it was selfish,
Right.
and just like being able to let somebody shine too. It is important because that builds self-esteem, and I feel like in prior years that was like a little bit more difficult for some people, especially if they were veterans. They were kind of selfish, and they was like, oh no, you're gonna take all my stuff, and I'm not gonna let you do what you need to do. Or like even when they were doing things for you, they wouldn't take it right, and so your stuff will look terrible. But their stuff, like if you're a good worker, you still make them look good.
Right. Absolutely. Tell me about the first time you did a promo or worked through some promo school stuff. What was that like for you?
At first it was really hard because English is my second language, so I get stuck sometimes. So I used to get stuck, and I used to start speaking Spanish. So my dear friend Donovan Troy, he was like actually one of the people I used to work with, and he encouraged my husband and I to go to like the local shows in Hayward, California. He was our like a promo teacher, because he used to do a lot of theater. So he used to give us a lot of like exercises, and then we'll have one day and where we're just like cut promos and stuff about our characters, our personas. It was like one of my favorite classes because sometimes we would say some like really out of pocket stuff, and we'll just like, you know, all my peers will like make fun of each other because some of them were terrible. Like they will just get there and be blank. Hi, my name is blah blah blah, and I was just like, okay. We're just like, okay, wow. And I will just be like speaking so fast. They were like, you need to slow down. You know, your mind is rushing. That really helped me. And then I started using like a lot of my Spanish when I got stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really good. And like I said, at first it was hard, and they were not very good. But you know, you always gotta make up with your body language or your facial expressions and stuff. And yeah, that was like my first experience with like the first like promo stuff.
Awesome.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I have to ask you. So, where did you get the idea for your? I mean, was the first character similar that you came up with, similar to the character that you have now, similar to the persona you have now? And did you always have the face paint, or did you come up with that a little bit later on?
No, like the face paint came out later. After like I think it was come out like in the 7th match or something. No, I wanted to kind of like mimic a lot of the stuff that like, especially mannerisms and like intensity of Sherry Martel. I really like identify with her so much because she like feed off like other people's energy, either in the ring as a wrestler or as a manager. And I think she's one of the best managers in the business till today. Like I haven't seen somebody like her, you know. And definitely like my character as Melissa, I'm very like, you know, colorful and livid and vivid and extra. So I was like, I'm gonna take that even more. So I was doing a lot of that stuff before I start putting the face paint on. The face paint on came out because in Merced, California, they were at this place called Lucha Extreme. They were looking to like draw more Latino community people because it was called Lucha Extreme, but they didn't really have like a lot of people from there coming to the show. They're like, oh, like let's paint your face as Sugar Skull, like this popular. So we tried it at one time, and that was pretty cool. And it just like I was using it there, and then that same promoter, Manny Hernandez said, what? Fernandez. Manny Fernandez said, you need to like just use half of it because you're too pretty. And I was like, "Aight."
That's awesome.
So I used half, and I just used it there. Then I went to Japan, and again, I wanted to be me. I didn't want to have nothing to do with my, you know, origins. So I want to be like recognized as a wrestler, not as a luchadora or like, you know, that kind of stuff. But it kind of didn't work. Like they still put me as a luchadora. They put me to do lucha. I didn't know how to do lucha. Then I got the concussion, and that's when my husband was like, "Hey, it's time to put the face paint on. I think that's just gonna stick." And ever since then, we've been doing it. That's since 2015.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. Now I've been reading here, so I read a little bit about your career. Did you really start? Was your first match in a battle royal? I read that on
Yes.
Wikipedia. I want to make sure that was right.
So that was the first one, and then I had a match, like a squash match in Oroville.
Okay.
Which I am Brian, I think we should do a watch along on that match. I think I'm gonna do that for my next YouTube. I was thinking about it because it was so bad.
I'm all into that. Let's see that.
It's
That's
actually in
great.
Macho Mania.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Definitely have to
because of
check
me.
that out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Oh man. What's it like going overseas like that? I mean, I know you just came back from there, and I watched all of your, you know, the videos that you had, and man, I loved it because it gave me a look at a place, I mean, I've never been. So seeing all that stuff, I mean, even seeing you going up and showing the city and showing the hotels and that whole thing with the Godzilla stuff, man, I dug that. I loved seeing that because God only knows if I'll ever get there in my lifetime. So, I mean, what is it like going back and forth, like over to that side of the world?
I mean, first of all, I love Japan. Like Japan is like it's like my third home You know, I mean, a lot of my style of wrestling is because of how young I was in the business and how quick I went to Japan and I absorbed everything, you know, because it just like, if I found it so fascinating, especially with women's wrestling and how respected it is out there. It's a lot of fun, man. You get to like networking. A lot of my networks contacts happen in Japan. As ridiculous as it is, like I met a lot of the people from Europe that I ended up working later. They became really good friends. You know, I met a lot of luchadors, like stuff that networking in Mexico. You know, people from Canada, people from everywhere, pretty much. You know, so that's where I met Nikki. I live with Nikki Storm or Nikki Cross for like 2 months in Japan.
Wow.
That's
I met a
awesome.
bunch of people from New Japan, you know, that are now that were in New Japan, that were in like Lucha Underground, like, and then the connections that you have there are different than, you know, like hanging out here, because it's like you're a foreigner, like people like respect you as an athlete, so it's really, really cool, man.
Yeah, man, it looked
Yeah.
amazing. It looked awesome. I saw you did a thing of where you were training over there as well. I saw some stuff like that on your videos as well. You were actually going in the morning, I think, and training there too. So that was amazing.
Oh yeah, like well, because of one of the referees from Kiso-san, he's from DDT and Tokyo Joshi. I was like, hey man, I need to train MMA. Like, do you know anybody there? He's like, yeah, my teacher. He owns an academy. You should go there. And I went there, and I was like the only one in class because everybody works at 2 p.m. So I was like the only one in class. When kickboxing, my chins were so purple. So I was kicking so much. But it was so much fun. You know, again, I met new people from like another world, which is kickboxing. He's a professional fighter. And I think he's a construction worker in the mornings or in the evenings, and then he comes and teaches. And I did a wrestling class too, and JiuJitsu, and they do sambo out there. Like they do I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. It's like that's a Russian national sport. And man, those like Japanese old men were like throwing my ass everywhere. It was great.
I'm glad. Go ahead, Jeff.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
I have a quick question for you, just for people who haven't seen a lot of wrestling in Japan. Could you tell our audience the difference between the crowds and people in Japan versus the crowds and fans here in the States?
I mean, it depends from like promotion to promotion. The promotion that I work now is Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. It's been running for probably like 5 years. The fans are really into it. Like the fans are like, they clap, they sing, you know, they get really animated. In other parts, like they're when they're watching like a serious match, they are serious. They don't talk, and they're not like American fans. That's a lot of the Joshi wrestlers, when they come to America, they're like, oh my God, the fans are so loud, like the whole entire time, you know, and they like that. So it's like, that's the difference. But like for me, it's hard for the fans to come and talk to me. Like if I was to speak Japanese and I have like a long conversation, I'm pretty sure that I will have a line, because they want to talk to you, because a lot of them are like single middle-aged men. And the only time that they talk to somebody is when they go to these shows and they talk to the girls. A lot of the girls are idol. They were idol girls or models or singers that became wrestlers. So they already had, you know, like fans from other things that wasn't wrestling. But now they translated it to that. So they're like, some of them have like, the guys wait there for an hour before the girls come out.
Wow. I didn't know. I had no idea. Wow.
Yeah, and they sit there, man. They buy like Mina. She's a bikini model, and she's now a wrestler. She's super popular out there. Like she'll have a line of people just like all the time, and these guys would just like sit and wait for her, and then just like talk to her for like 2 minutes, and then she'll like be making like $3,000 just in selling merch in one night.
Man. Oh, wow, that's incredible.
I wish I was making $3,000 a night. I'll talk to you for $100, man.
Oh man, that's great. So you mentioned the kickboxing thing, and I got into NWA, and I started watching it because of Dayz mentioning it, and that actually the episode where you had that the clip on the episode. It wasn't an actual episode of it, but it had your debut there, and that was the first time I watched it. So I was fascinated. How did you what made you want to try that? What made you get into it? And are you gonna keep looking to do it?
MMA?
Yeah.
Brother, I have a contract with Combate Americas for 4 fights. I only had one done. I was like, my plan was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do a fight. I'm gonna get a fight in August. I don't know if it's gonna happen because like they had to they cancel all their shows from they started canceling a ton of stuff in January. So now they're like super backtrack and they already have some stuff already planned for it. So I don't know I might not even fight this year to tell you, but I mean probably they're gonna have me fight. I mean I'm one of the most popular people that they have there because I'm I'm a professional wrestler. I'm pretty popular there, and like especially if I have it in San Antonio again, I can draw I'll go and sell tickets. I'm all about promoting myself, and most of the things is when you're selling tickets for an MMA fight, you get a cut depending on how much how many tickets you sell. So I'll definitely will try to sell as much as possible and get as many sponsors and get as many people involved in the fight. It's predominantly I train to fight, right now instead of professional wrestling, and a lot of my jiu-jitsu and a lot of my wrestling, that's what I translate into the ring. But it's helping me so much because I'm staying in really good conditioning and just keep me really focused and and it gives me another perspective in the ring,
Yeah. Can you talk to everyone about training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? I know that are you with Brazilian Top Team at this point?
Yeah, but in San Antonio, yes.
Okay. Can you talk to everyone a little bit about training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and MMA as a whole? Because I have a good friend that was a fighter with Bellator, Igor Almeida, and he has his own school in West Palm Beach. And I've heard stories and I've seen him train and all of that, but I just want to hear from you firsthand. How much does that kick your butt? Because I can tell you, I got tired from watching it.
And I mean, you have to train. I train between 5 and 6 hours a day. It's jiu-jitsu. There's sometimes I train jiu-jitsu twice a day, depending on the day. I go early in the morning, and then I go and I do no gi and no gi, and then when you're doing MMA solely, it's minimum 2.5 hours. When it's Monday, Thursdays, and Saturdays, we do a lot of drills. We'll do a lot of we don't do we're just gonna spar and we're gonna beat each other up. No, it's different situational sparring, we call it. And for me, it really helps because it makes you think about the different situations that you are going to be in the cage and how you have to react to it. At the beginning, again, I went pro right away. I didn't have no amateur fighting or nothing. So it was the amount of information that was thrown to me was so much. Yeah. There was so much I could absorb, and now it's the last couple months, it was just a lot of it was clicking. And then the Rona came and destroyed everybody's, plans and situations and advancements. But, I have to I have to read a lot about it. I have to study this book because I'm still not a blue belt. I'm getting super close to become a blue belt now. I have to go to beginners classes, and then I have to do a lot of advanced classes. So even though again I'm still learning, they treat me like a pro. So they don't take it easy. That none of my peers have taken it easy on me. And prior to my fight, I remember it was a month before, my whole back was bruised because we were doing so much work against the cage that it was I was so beat up. I remember being in pain, being sore in pain. Then you're cutting weight. Then you just have to make sure that you maintain your weight. So it's a lot of things that a lot of things that you do that people don't understand how difficult it is, because you have to have like this mental toughness, and then there's days that you're just like, you finish practice and you start crying because you feel like you suck, you know. But that's part of the process. And again, I'm still, you know, trying to stay focused, and you know, I'll do as much as I can right now for what I have, and but I'm not giving up. Like you said, I have 3 more fights.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So of the 2, I mean, if you were given a choice and you can only do one of the 2, which one would you choose?
Well, if MMA was to pay what I get paid in wrestling,
yep,
or more, I will do MMA.
Wow, that's awesome.
You know, but I think wrestling is, I don't know, man. It's I don't know. It's like, what I like about wrestling is that you meet so many people from so many different parts of the world, because you get a chance to travel like the way that I travel. Like if I was in a huge company and where like my contract was big and I was gonna have fights everywhere in the world, I would be like, okay, cool. But I don't know, at this point, you know, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know.
Well, hopefully it never comes to that where you'll never have
I hope not.
choice. Oh man, we had Holodead on our show. I know you know her. She mentioned that you guys are friends. I love the Twisted Sisters thing. And I'll ask you the same question I asked her. Did you ever see you guys coming back and you know, and doing that again? Holodead said, "Listen, it's not dead. You know, we're you know, it's kind of just in limbo right now."
It is in limbo. I am under a contract with NWA.
Yep.
I am the current NWA Women's World Champion.
Absolutely.
So my storyline in all this is different, you know. So yeah, we say in the future, perhaps other storylines can happen in the indies.
Gotcha.
But now I am focusing solely on NWA.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got, I mean, the match you had where you won that championship with Alison Kay, it was amazing. Honestly, I probably, it had to be one of the best women's matches I've ever seen. So what was that moment like for you when you won the title?
It was very special. There's no words that I can use to describe the feeling when I won the championship, but the only thing that I hate is like when I saw the pictures, I always have like the ugliest pictures because I'm so emotional. I was like, damn it, not again. Because I want to cry and I'm not supposed to. Yeah, man, it was, come on, man. My name is written in history now, in like wrestling history.
Man.
That's right. That's right. I mean, that's a title that goes all the way back to 1935, and people like the Fabulous Moolah held that belt. So that's great that your name is in history with them.
Yeah, it is. And again, when I had the opportunity to show that title to my family, I think that's when I was like, all right, this is pretty dope. Now, even my mom got a little teary, and she don't even like wrestling.
Oh man, that's awesome. That's awesome.
So with that match, obviously Joe and I are gushing over it because it was a great match, and I mean, it was just a pleasure to watch it. Who are some of the other wrestlers that you've wrestled against that have kind of been some of your favorite opponents over the years?
You know, somebody asked me that question earlier, and it took me 5 minutes to answer. Damn it. I mean, I will say, like, a lot of the girls in NWA, they're really fun to work with. You know, I really like the locker room there. In the indies, you know what? I really enjoy working with like Mercedes Martinez because she was so easy to work with. I worked with her when I was doing tag with Holodead, and it was like Holodead and Evilise, and we used to have super, like, we just like used to feed off each other. She's just such a pro. I don't know, man. There's so many.
That's awesome. Love it. So and I'm sure you get asked this all the time. In fact, I think I probably put this in your chat a bazillion times when you had YouTube videos, but if you could pick a person, if you could pick an athlete to go up against in the ring, who would it be?
An athlete, it has to be, can he be from anywhere, or it has to be like
any promotion, any promotion, anybody that you can face. If you had a dream match, a dream wrestling match, who would it be?
Well, Sarah Stock, #1, is my #1. I was sad when she retired. And I know she's not retired with Phoenix. She's not fully retired. She can still go.
That would be awesome.
That would be amazing. That would be absolutely amazing. Wow. My goodness. So I'm gonna, but Jeff, do you have any more questions before I get to, I have some stuff from the community that I want to ask, but do you have anything else you want to ask before I go into that?
Yeah, I do. I have one other question here. In terms of someone that is interested in getting into the wrestling business and becoming a wrestler or doing anything within the business, what advice would you give them about where to start and what type of mindset they would have to have in order to be successful in the
I will
business?
say, if you're a girl, you cannot be sensitive about what guys are going to say. This is a predominantly male-dominated industry. The same with MMA. People are going to treat you like shit because, one, they want to test you, how tough you are, and that still happens. And I know they say it's bully or whatever, but that's what's going to build toughness, sometimes. Because, like, this business is not easy. And if you want to succeed, you have to be tough, mentally tough, physically tough, spiritually tough too, because you're going to have to do a lot of sacrifices. You're going to like fail on your face so many times, and you have to keep going, because if you get sad when people tell you no and you get all moppy, you're not going to make it in this business. You have to work as hard as you can to go for what you want. The big companies, they already know what they want and who they want, and sometimes it's not you. So you got to work your ass off to make a name for yourself, to make a living, because a lot of people want to make a living out of this business, but they're too lazy to get out of their ass and do what they're supposed to do to make it out of the business, and then they'll be hating on other people that are making it. So if you really want to make it, you really have to like look at yourself and say, do I have the time? Do I have what it takes? Am I going to be a little, wimpy kid when somebody like tells me no, or when I face rejection? You got to think about that. And if you say yes to a couple of them, reconsider. And when you're ready, go do it and go full force on it. Don't do the things halfway. And when you talk about and you say, I'm a professional wrestler, look and act like a professional wrestler. That's to me what it takes to do this. Maybe it was too deep, but
no, that's amazing advice, because I think a lot of people who are interested in the business, they see everyone in WWE or they see AEW and they think that that's professional wrestling. They don't understand all of the sacrifices and work that it takes and all of the steps that you have to make in order to potentially get to that spot. I love how earlier you talked about setting up the ring and learning all the different spots within wrestling so that you could maybe find a place in professional wrestling. And that's really the mindset that it takes. I mean, being able to go and set up a ring and do something like that, it goes so far, because then you'll have people seeing you and saying, hey, this person really is interested. Let me see how I can help them. Let me see if I can throw them some extra training or do something like that. I mean, that type of mindset makes a difference.
No, it really does. It really does. Like there was many times, man, I wanted to quit and I just didn't want to do nothing. And my husband was like, hey, listen, man, I'm making sacrifices myself for you to just be a professional wrestler. You can't just be sitting in the bed expecting that things are going to happen for you.
Right.
So you either get on it or get out of it, because I don't have time for this shit. Otherwise, go back to school, get your master's, and stop playing games. The same with fighting. This is a lot harder because I already have my skills for professional wrestling. I'm starting professional fighting. I gotta learn everything from the bottom, man, because you gotta earn your respect, because this is another business that I'm like, jumping into and be like, oh yeah, what's up, So it's like, you gotta work for it, man. It's like, you know, otherwise you're going to be waiting years and years and years. And that's one thing I don't have is time. I don't want to be, I said it multiple times, I don't want to be wrestling when I'm 44, 45, you know, I want to be retired by the time I'm 40, you know, and being able to like, you know, plan and do things for my family and for myself, because this is a very taxing sport for my body, for my brain, you know, so I have to think about those things. Like people that start really young, they don't really think about that. They do a lot of stuff that are, you know, very dangerous for their body, that later on they cut their career short, or like they have to have some serious surgeries by the time before they're 30, you know. So this is one of the things that you got to think about is like, okay, cool, like I want to get that pop from the fans, or I want to have some longevity, you know, show people that I can work, and maybe like I'll get the respect and the pop when I do something cool, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Wow, that's incredible. That's absolutely inspirational, and I mean that's a fantastic way of looking at things. I mean, you really, you know, you're showing how the determination and the hard work and everything like that's going to pay off. And man, that's awesome. That's great advice, and great advice for anybody, really.
I mean, it's the truth. That's my truth. You know, I haven't been called from WWE. I haven't been called for AEW. I have many of my friends that I work with, I live with, and they're signed in WWE and other companies, and that's okay, fine. You know, I'm with NWA. NWA finds me, Thunder Rosa. I'm not talking about a hood character or, you know, something else. They find Thunder Rosa as a champion, somebody that they can put their trust on their women's division. To me, that means a lot, you know, because I knew, and I knew it from the moment I signed up for school that my career was going to pay off later on. I knew it wasn't going to be easy because I'm Mexican, I'm short, I have an accent, I don't look like all the girls that were on the mainstream, you know, and I'm very opinionated too. So, you know, I mean, this is the truth, you know, and then I saw it many, many times, and I'm still seeing it already, you know. And when my moment is gonna come, my moment is gonna come, you know. And right now the moment is now, you know. I am the champion, the NWA Women's World Champion, you know.
Man, that's unbelievable. Your moment definitely is here. Absolutely.
It's here.
You know, and it is not in the big leagues. It's an NWA which has been run for 80 years.
Yep.
You know. So I am really, really proud of what we have done as a team. When I'm talking about my husband, you know, and me, and then now I have a couple of other friends that are helping us out, you know, and we're doing this because we believe in what we're putting on the table. We believe in what we can do for as a brand, you know, as the Thunder Rosa brand. Because I'm not only talking about wrestling, I'm talking about empowering other women, empowering people that don't believe in themselves. You know, showing them that, you know, it is important when you have something to give back, to receive positive blessings back. You know, sometimes this business it's all about me, you know. Gotta be on top, I gotta be on this, I gotta be on that. But you know, a lot of people forget, if something happens to you and you are out of the map, nobody's gonna give a crap after a while, because we live in the social media, you know, way. But if you build a foundation and where people know that you not only care for you, but you care for others, then you start getting a lot more blessings.
Wow. Wow. Love it. Absolutely love that. That's fantastic. Fantastic. Man, oh man. Shout out to your husband too, by the way. Dayz,
That's right.
Obviously we know Dayz loves Brian Rosa, so hey, shout out to your husband as well. I'm
Yeah,
sure
right. He's exercising his fingers right now playing Xbox.
Oh, there you
Awesome.
go. Nice.
That's
there you
awesome.
go. I've been going back and forth between my Switch and my PlayStation now that I picked up Final Fantasy VII yesterday. So I'll be playing my PlayStation now probably for a while, but that's great. That's awesome. Oh, man. So if you don't mind, I did get a few questions from some of the people in Dayz community. So I'm just going to throw these questions out to you if that's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right. So the first one we got, this is from a person named, he calls himself The Cheese in Dayz community. He asked 2 questions. He said, one, I'd love to know, and you probably covered this a little bit already, but he says, I'd love to know the biggest challenge going back and forth between MMA and pro wrestling. So that's his first question.
Not having like when I'm traveling, when I have a lot of bookings, it's finding the time to train, sleep, and eat. Because I'm tired all the time, you know, and sometimes I'm like so jacked from all the shows that I had, that training is so difficult, but you have to do it. You have to do it.
That's awesome. And then his second question, he says, what are your thoughts of having another championship for the women of the NWA, whether that be another single championship or a tag team championship?
I think a tag team championship will be cool. I don't think they haven't brought that back in a long, long time. So that'll be cool.
Yeah, definitely. Then we've got one here from, his name is Pipe Picasso. I know he's a big fan because I see him comment on your.
Always. Shout out to my boy.
There you go. Shout out to Pipe Picasso, man. He says, on a typical day, how many social media notifications does she get? I'm sure you get blown up.
Well, you know, it's funny because every time I put a story, you can hear a notification, and like fans are like, you got another notification. I get a lot, especially in Instagram. Instagram be popping.
Wow. Yeah, I'm sure you do. That's crazy. And then we've got, and I know that this gentleman he was just talking to you guys last night. So Adam Rotella, shout out to Adam. He told me to ask you if we should allow Wrestling Daze to be a mod for our channel. Now, this has been going on since we've started. Wrestling Daze keeps saying, why am I not a mod? Why am I not a mod? And then, of course, you had the whole thing with you and the whole thing with Holodead. And when we had Holodead on here, she's like, absolutely not. He does not get to be a mod. So, of course, that's what I used. And I said, nope, you can't be a mod, man, because Holodead told me not to. So Adam asked me to ask you if Dayz should be a mod for our channel.
Well, right now, Dayz is in my good side.
Okay.
So, yeah. No,
Okay.
I gotta give it up to the guy, man. He sends me people to my channel. You know, but I told him, like, and I'm telling you guys, and I'm anointing that right now, as soon as the travel ban is over, I got points. I'm going to England, and I'm going to be his tree because we're doing the koala challenge.
I saw you do that. I saw your video of doing that with your husband. That's incredible. That really is incredible. That's got to take a tremendous amount of athleticism to do that. And yeah, I watched you do that. I'm like, wow. I saw Nikki Cross trying to do it too. And I'm like, you know, she was having some issues doing it, but man, I saw that. I was like, wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, no, and you know what? It helps a lot. Jiu-Jitsu has been helping me a lot with that. Because we have to be so tight to the person.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And not allow like no space. So that really helped. Like the only thing that I messed up, I think it was like in the end when I'm like in the sunset flip area, I was supposed to grab his waist and like get myself up, but it's okay. That's how I watch it on the YouTube video and the other YouTube video, but that's okay. I still did it. And Brian was there like, okay, I'm done.
Oh man, that's awesome. That's awesome. I think that might have been it for the community. So I've got to ask you. I mean, I say this on our podcast a lot. I'm a big geek. I love the geek stuff, man. I got to ask you about Star Wars because I know you're a fan, and I have been a Star Wars fan since I was 7 years old in 1977 when my dad took me to see the first one. Again, I'm showing my age. I'm an old dude. But I know you said your favorite character is Darth Maul. I was lucky enough to meet Ray Park, the guy who played Darth Maul. So I love me some Darth Maul as well. So let me ask you, what's your favorite Star Wars movie?
Episode 3.
Okay. Revenge of the Sith, right?
Yes, I love it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. See, you don't see too many people saying the prequels are their favorite ones, but there you go. What got you into Star Wars?
Well, at first I watched it because all my friends took me to Comic-Con when episode 3 came out.
Yep.
And you know what? Believe it or not, that same then they premiered that movie. My husband, I didn't know him then. He was waiting for that movie for the same time that I went to the movie. To that movie showing, he was there.
Oh wow!
In the same movie theater.
In the
that's
same place at the same
Yes.
time.
That's
Yes.
incredible.
Wow.
That's incredible. If that's not fate, there you go. There you go. That's awesome. I love it. I love it. Oh man. So yeah, I had to ask you about that. I'm like, yep. I when I heard that you like, and I saw you posted some. Did you like the new trilogy or did you not? Because there's so many people split on that. They didn't like the last three movies. Some people liked them, some people didn't. Did you enjoy the last three?
I didn't like the last one. It was just too like everywhere.
Yeah, I agree.
It was hard to follow.
I agree. I completely agree with you. So, Jeff, anything else for Thunder Rosa?
Well, I just want to say thank you again for being with us because, this is a huge honor. And like I said earlier, I've been watching you since Powerr started and went back and watched some of your old stuff on YouTube. So it really is a pleasure to speak to you and to get your insight on the business as well, because that's, I want to make sure that people really understand what goes into what professional wrestlers do.
Man, I couldn't echo that more. Again, the future is so bright for you right now, and I can't wait until all of this garbage outside goes away and we get back to a little bit of normalcy here and to see where you go from here. Because it's oh man, like I said, I'm so excited as a fan just to watch you and watch and see where your journey goes. And I love NWA. It takes me back to when I was a kid watching wrestling on Saturday mornings. And I just can't wait to see where you go next. So before we let you go, and I don't want to keep you, too much longer, tell everybody out there where they can pick up your merch. You have some really cool merch. I was looking at some of it today. You have the keychain dolls. You have the shirts are amazing. You have photos and stuff. But tell everybody what you're working on, like what kind of stuff you're doing, and where they can find merch and stuff for you and get in touch with you for it.
They can find me on thunderrosa.net. All my stuff are, there. Like my Instagram, my YouTube, my Facebook, everything is connected. And then you guys can watch me every Thursday live on YouTube at 7 p.m.
Awesome.
Central
Man.
Time.
I saw you also had I think you just showed somebody on one of your videos that somebody made was it like a doll? Was it like a stuffed doll, almost like a one of those huggable
Oh man,
dolls?
yeah, dude, that is like this guy. He said he was like playing around with the design, and he posted it. And one of the guys that does Ring Crew in ROH is a really good friend of mine. Sent me the picture like at 2. I couldn't sleep at 2 in the morning. He's like, bro, it's just so dope. Check it out. And then he sent me the name of the person. I contact the person, and he was like, yeah, I'll send to you. So he's gonna send me 2 of them. But yeah, man, he just like came up with it.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Oh man, love it. Absolutely love it. Well, listen, thank you so much.
I'm going to buy some of your merch right now. I'm going to buy some of your merch right now.
You better.
You heard it.
Hopefully you have a big boy size because I'm like 3X. So
I still have some 3X.
There you go. There you go, man. Get out there and buy Thunder Rosa's merch. It is incredibly cool. Check out her YouTube every week. And you're doing that on Thursdays now, right?
Yeah, I'm doing it on Thursdays right now because I don't have training. So we want to make sure that it's not, because I know people are watching wrestling still on Mondays and Wednesdays. So I just want to make sure I'm not doing it.
That's awesome. Yeah, so check her out every week on YouTube. Those streams are amazing. I've watched them all. I loved it. She did a newlywed game type thing this past week. So you never know what you're going to see on that channel. So check her out on YouTube. And again, check her out check out her matches on YouTube. Check her out on NWA when NWA gets back going again. And man, we really appreciate it. I cannot thank you enough for being with us today. And I can't wait for the community to hear the interview and just get to know you a little bit better. So thank you so much for being on with us tonight. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. And I hope I wasn't too extra for y'all.
No. So we had a blast. I loved it, man. It was fantastic. I loved it. Thank you for spending so much time with us. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, guys.
You got it.
All right.